certain parts of Puerto Rico, neighbors gather every year, and they have been for the last 35 years, to light their street in Christmas decoration as a tradition to make kids happy. Our Francis Felix reports.
We visit a community in Carolina, Puerto Rico, where every year neighbors gather to do their Christmas tree lighting.
We live in the calle de Quire, Parque Ecuestre, Carolina. This is a tradition of this street about 30 or 35 years. We used to do it for our children. Then now they are older. They have about 30 years old. So we started for them. We share a lot, our neighbors, to help each other, and then we started to do this Christmas. We have about 20 houses in one side, on the right side, and 20 on the left side. So we started to do this, we planified to do this for our children, and we loved it. And we started, we made it like a tradition.
La Calle de Kid, it's open for everyone who wants to visit, keeping up with the Christmas traditions and the longest Christmas in the world. Reporting from Carolina, Puerto Rico, Francis Felix.
All right, thanks, Francis. Well, meantime, on the coronavirus front in the U.S. mainland, at least 5 states as of Friday morning are reporting COVID-19 cases that involve the new variant. And as the new strand begins to take hold, the White House is now unveiling new measures to try and slow a winter rise in cases. Bradley Blackburn reports from New York.
New York recorded 5 confirmed cases of the Omicron COVID variant yesterday. So far, the most of any state.
While this may be highly transmissible, at least from the early evidence, and again, more information is still forthcoming, we want people to know that the early cases that have arisen are not life-threatening. They seem to be minor cases.
Minnesota, Colorado, and Hawaii also reported Omicron cases yesterday. President Biden unveiled new strategies to curb the pandemic.
Experts say the COVID-19 cases will continue to rise in the weeks ahead in this winter. So we need to be ready.
Starting Monday, travelers entering the country will have to be tested for COVID within a day of their arrival. The rule applies to everyone, including vaccinated American citizens.
We're going to fight this variant with science and speed, not chaos and confusion.
The president also extended the requirement that masks be worn on public transportation and said insurance companies would cover the costs of at-home tests.
It's probably already more widely spread than our early determinations have indicated.
But while the world braces for what Omicron may do, the Delta variant remains the dominant strain in the U.S.
Your strategy is the same whether or not you're fighting Omicron or fighting Delta. The answer is vaccines, vaccines, and vaccines.
To date, a little more than 63% of the eligible population is fully vaccinated. So far, only 23% of those eligible have gotten a booster dose.
And officials in New York say at least 1 of the 5 positive Omicron patients was vaccinated, and again, that all 5 cases led to mild symptoms. Health experts say it'll still be at least a couple of weeks before we know how well current vaccines work against the new variant and whether the variant causes more serious symptoms. And meantime, workers planning to return to their offices early next year may have to make other plans. Many companies are now reconsidering reopening plans in light of the new variant. Amanda Del Castillo spoke to a few businesses about what may be in store.
Stick with office reopening plans or push back timelines. It's a dilemma companies continue to face after multiple delays due to COVID-19 mutations, the most recent being the Omicron variant.
I think almost anything that stimulates concern causes further delay because companies don't want to be in the position of putting their employees at risk.
Jim Wonderman, president and CEO of the business group Bay Area Council, says it's hard to imagine Omicron won't impact return to office goals the way Delta did. Google confirming Thursday it's now waiting until the new year to assess when office locations are ready for the transition back. January 10th had long been the earliest date Google would have ended its voluntary work from home period and kicked off a new hybrid work week.
This is going to trickle down to most of the companies. The problem with it is we are dealing with the unknown. We have no idea what will be the next variant.
San Jose State professor and tech expert Ahmed Banafa says the pandemic has proven many in the tech world can do their jobs just fine from home.
We have to get out from that shell of 2019 and before and think about it. It's real. We have to mix the virtual and the physical world together.
However, Wonderman says the delays also mean typically busy downtown areas and other parts of the economy continue hurting. Google says it's opened more than 90% of its U.S. offices, adding in recent weeks nearly 40% of U.S. Googlers came into the office.
There are a lot of companies who are really trying very hard to get back and understand that ultimately the success of the businesses is going to rely on having, people come together in common physical space.